Alcohol, drugs, and sports cars led to the tragic loss of Canadian icon Tim Horton, a hockey star best remembered today for the coffee chain that bears his name. But there's more to Tim Horton than the brand. This is a tale of an athlete, an entrepreneur, and a legacy that came to a tragic end. Miles Gilbert Horton, known as Tim, was born in 1930 in the town of Cochrane, Ontario, and grew up playing hockey alongside his brother Jerry. Tim moved to Toronto in 1947 to play junior hockey with the St. Mike's Majors and attend St. Michael's College. The Toronto Maple Leafs signed him in 1948, and 2 years later, he turned pro with the Leafs farm team, the Pittsburgh Hornets of the American Hockey League. He spent most of his first 3 seasons with Pittsburgh, playing in his first NHL game on March 26, 1950. Horton became an NHL regular with the Leafs in 1952, and remained a Leaf until 1970. Horton's strong defensive fundamentals, calmness under pressure, and tremendous strength helped the Leafs win 4 Stanley Cups between 1952 and 1969. Horton was also an effective puck carrier, so much so that he played right wing for the Leafs during the 1964-65 season. From 1961 to 1968, Horton appeared in 486 consecutive regular season games. And in 1962, he set a single postseason Leafs team record for points by a defenseman with 3 goals and 13 assists in 12 playoff games. Horton appeared in 7 All-Star games during his time with the Leafs, and was named an NHL First Team All-Star 3 times and selected to the NHL Second Team All-Star squad 3 times. In March 1970, the Leafs traded Horton to the Rangers for future considerations. Then, at the beginning of the 1971-72 season, Horton was claimed by the Pittsburgh Penguins in the intra-league draft, where, at the age of 41, he signed a 1-year contract for $100,000, the largest contract at the time for the 5-year-old franchise. A broken ankle and separated shoulder limited Horton to just 44 games for the Pens, during which he registered 11 points. In spite of his age and considerable nearsightedness, Horton signed with the Buffalo Sabres in 1972, where he helped the Sabres qualify for their first playoff appearance in franchise history. Off the ice, Horton spent his time on a variety of business ventures, including a hamburger restaurant and a Studebaker auto dealership in Toronto. But Horton's greatest success came when he and business partner Ron Joyce opened the first Tim Hortons in Hamilton, Ontario in 1964. By Horton's death in 1974, the donut shop had grown into a multi-million-dollar franchise system with 40 locations, and currently operates nearly 4,600 stores in Canada and 620 in the United States. Horton died after losing control of his De Tomaso Pantera sports car in the early morning of February 21, 1974. He had played a game in Toronto the previous evening against his former team and was driving alone back to Buffalo. The Sabres had lost the game, and despite sitting out the third period with jaw and ankle injuries, Horton was selected as one of the game's 3 stars. Horton's Pantera was given to him by Sabres general manager Punch Imlach as an enticement to return to the team for 1 more season. On his drive to Buffalo, Horton stopped at his office in Oakville and was met there by Ron Joyce. While there, Horton phoned his brother Jerry, who recognized that Tim had been drinking and tried to persuade him not to continue driving. Joyce also offered to have Horton stay with him, but Horton chose to continue his drive to Buffalo. Shortly after 4 a.m., a woman reported to the Ontario Provincial Police that she had observed a car traveling at high speeds on Queen Elizabeth Way. A warning was broadcast over police radio, and 30 minutes later, an officer observed a speeding vehicle traveling Niagara-bound in Vineland. The officer activated his siren and attempted to pursue Horton's vehicle, but lost sight of it. Horton passed a curve in the road and lost control and drove into the center grass median, where his tire caught a recessed sewer which caused the car to flip several times before it came to a stop on its roof on the opposite side of the highway. Not wearing a seatbelt, Horton was found 123 feet from the car, and was pronounced dead at St. Catharines General Hospital. Subsequent to Horton's death, there was no official public inquiry, and police wouldn't state whether he was intoxicated. In 2005, Horton's autopsy was made public and revealed that his blood alcohol level was twice the legal limit. Horton was also in possession of a half-full bottle of vodka and the drugs Dexedrine and Dexamyl. The autopsy report concluded that his car had been in good working order. There was nothing to suggest Horton was evading police, or that police were near enough to initiate a criminal pursuit. Following Horton's death, Ron Joyce offered Horton's widow Lori $1 million for her shares in the chain, which at the time included 40 stores. She accepted his offer and Joyce became sole owner. Years later, Lori became dissatisfied with Joyce's offer and filed a lawsuit against him. In 1993, Lori lost the lawsuit, and her appeal was denied in 1995. Tim Horton is a Hockey Hall of Famer and Canadian legend, and his legacy lives on at early morning practices and community rinks across the country. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe.